there's a few things that took place on Monday, and I was very tired on Monday. I'm back on it now. I'm back on it now. But I wanted to just talk about a few things that were coming up on Monday and the energy of this time. So there's a lot of things I'm going to be, I get so much information before every event. So when we come together as a body and the group that's coming together, it's an energy. And when we come into a group consciousness, we become one body. And so I start receiving information for the event days. It starts to build days before, and I just get it in bits, in bits, in bits. So I have to be I'm very present now. I've become so present in my life. And I could be washing up and I'll receive a message, or I'll get a song that plays, or I'll hear a conversation, or there'll be I don't know, a podcast that comes into my awareness, or I'll be guided to share a little bit of my story, so I'll see a snapshot of a reel of my story, my life. And so the pieces of the puzzle start to come together for each group event. And so I just tune in and I usually get pages of information, and I can't share it all. I probably need about 2-3 hours to share all the information that I get. So, I try and touch all the themes and just touch and give you the highlights on each session. And you'll notice whenever we do anything, every session is different. Every session we talk about different things, and every session brings up a different energy, because that's the cosmos and it's moving, and we are one consciousness, and I tune into the cosmos. And on Monday I was really tired, and when I played the recording back, all I could hear was I. And I don't like to talk about me, the human I have a real thing about the ego, and talking about I am this person, I'm that person. And all I could hear in the beginning of Monday was I. And I cringed. I literally cringed. And I said, oh my God, Neela, that's not you. Why are you just talking about yourself? And it was this energy that's coming through. It's this energy that's asking us. So we have the human ego, the healthy ego, and then we have the ego which thinks, I know it all, and I'm the best there is, and I'm better than you. That's the unhealthy ego, so to speak. And growing up, my dad always said to me, always be humble. No matter who you become in life, be humble. Humility is very graceful, and always remember to be humble. And I was always surrounded by people who just were always talking about themselves, that all they did was talk about themselves. And I was very, very quiet growing up as a girl, very insular, actually very introverted, because I just wasn't that type of person that would talk about herself. And I grew up my whole life not talking about myself. I only started to come out of my shell when I was about 18 years old. And so, just when I was listening to myself, it triggered me. And I just thought, God, why were you talking about yourself so much? And you probably didn't even notice it, but I noticed it. And the energy right now is asking us to talk about ourselves in a healthy way, to be able to share about ourselves authentically and who we are. And because this energy of our higher self is wanting to come through us. This magnificent being, this quantum being is wanting to emerge through us. And now if we don't express who we are, and we don't have the confidence to share who we are and what we bring to the world, then no one will ever know our gifts. No one will ever know what we have inside of us. So, I was triggered by my own self, and I thought, well, I probably put everyone off, because they probably thought I was talking about myself the whole time, and I didn't mean to. But this is the energy that is calling us to just express ourselves, share who we are, share what we're about, share, and just get aligned with this energy of our truth, our authentic truth. So this is one of the messages that I wanted to share. So just be very mindful of that. If you come from a place of competition, that I'm better than you, and I'm better than you, and I know more than you, and I'm enlightened and you're not. That's bullshit. And I remember going to the temple when I was a young girl, and my parents would just take us every weekend to the temple. And I would sit there as a little girl, and I would just watch people and their egos, and the battle of the egos, and grabbing the mic to sing, and one better than the other. And I would sit as a little girl at the back of the temple, and I would just think, gosh, human beings have just lost the purity of the divine messages that want to come through in this space. They've lost their connection to divinity, and the messages are so pure, but they're not listening. They're listening, they're just fighting, they're just competing. There's so much politics, And usually when you go to a religious place, you'll find there's so much politics between the people because it's the battle of the egos. And so, when you are in that place, you push your divine self away. You push your connection to the divine away when the ego is about I'm better than you. And unfortunately, I see a lot in the spiritual world. People, there are gurus out there who will preach and they will play on the insecurities of the people and their vulnerability and use it against them. And I hate that. I get really angry about it. So you have to use your instincts and your intuition, what feels right for you, no matter who you work with, and just trust your own self and what you feel. So at the end of the day, we are all divine and we have this divine light within us. And for you and your journey is the more surrendered you become, the more you let go of the mind and just drop into deep surrender. That's when you'll be able to connect with your divine self, and more and more. Allow everything to come through you. And that is really, the importance of just this journey. It's about surrender and authenticity rather than ego. So just check in with yourselves, but don't be afraid to share who you are. Don't be afraid to share who you are, but from an authentic place. So that is really the message that I'm trying to get through there. And Irina was talking about, Goddess Hathor, and she started to come through last week. She was really strong, but there was so much happening last week. I had to anchor so many different themes last week that we couldn't bring her through. And, that's the first time that's ever happened, that I haven't been able to bring the energy through on the time that it wanted to come through. But I had to trust that what we were doing was just, there were other energies that needed to come through. And I have got a session with the Hathors on my website. So the Hathors are an intergalactic race that are connected to Goddess Hathor, and they are very high frequency, like their pitch is really high frequency. And so when we connect with Goddess Hathor, she's also connected to this interdimensional, intergalactic race. And so their energies can come through sometimes. I haven't channeled them yet. It's on my website. They have asked me to create a session for them. But they are very high frequency and they come through. So it's like a sound, it's a high-pitched sound that comes through with the Hathors. But she's connected to them. So, yesterday I was out with a friend and we started talking about a lot of themes. And this year, why we're doing these sessions is because we're looking at the sexual energy and we're looking at the lower chakras. And in the lower chakras, we carry guilt, we carry shame, we carry sexual suppression. And these are very low frequency emotions that we have in the body. And if we look at shame and guilt, this is like 50 hertz and 20 hertz. And to be in the fifth dimension, we have to be in the frequency of love. So 500 hertz and upwards. And this is why the call this year is the year of intimacy, I say, because it's going deeper into our own bodies, into our own sacred chakras, looking at the lower chakras. The lower chakras are the three at the base, your root, your sacral, and your solar. We are looking at those chakras because that's where a lot of emotion gets stuck and stagnant. So we have to look at those and start to clear them up. So not only do we go up, we also go down. And it is important to go down and do that work. And this is what is calling now, to look at these the lower chakras. They are the human chakras and the primal chakras. And then you've got the higher chakras, which are connected to divinity. So we are going to be clearing. And this year we are going down. We're going down. And I've done a lot of work with souls in the lower chakras, just to clear it up so that they can connect with their divine energy. It's really important that your chakras are clear. It is so important that they are clear so that the energy can flow through you and just reach the higher chakras, reach your third eye and go into the cosmos. So, it's always good to have a clean out and get your energy centers cleared out. It's important.